In this video segment, I will be demonstrating how to set up a profile in Dragon, and this is again all in context of entering fisheries biodata or any biological data, and then I'll be using our data entry form as an example, but this can be adapted to your data entry form that you'll be using. The way profiles work, they are set up for a specific person and for an input device. So what I'll be demonstrating on is an older version of Dragon, which is version 12, but the newer versions have profiles that can use multiple input devices, and input devices basically I'm meaning the type of microphone. So the profiles can be set up for a USB input microphone, a wired-in microphone, a laptop or tablet default microphone that's mounted next to the camera that's on these computers. And then today I'll be showing you how to set up with a Bluetooth headphone. So first thing you'll do is go under Profiles, and you're going to create a new user profile. And if you're just installing Dragon from new, it'll ask you to create one. So you can see here we have a whole bunch of profiles. There's for my technician Dan, and then these are ones for me, and there's different profiles are for different types of entry forms. So we'll talk about this later, is that when you do your Dragon commands and it's set up for entry form, it's based on a sequence of measurements, and some of the navigational commands, for example, if you want to move to a different field that you use a command to get there, they're basically tab specific or number of field specific. So we have different entry forms. So these forms have more data collected from fish than the conventional ones. So I'm just going to show you how to create a new profile from default. And you can see in this older version, they're set up either for a Bluetooth microphone or a USB microphone. So I'm going to hit new, and it's going to ask you to create a new user profile. So I'm going to hit next, and I'm going to Sean Bluetooth, and then this will be lake trout survey entry form, and I'm just going to say EX as an example. So it takes your demographics because it adjusts your speech pattern, for, nuance. I spent a lot of time studying voice entry in humans and how it varies by regions of the world and by age. So I'll put that. It's United States. I think I have a standard accent. You can see there's variations in accents, and I think the newer versions have even more selections. And so we're going to use the speech device. I think in the newer versions it knows which device, but here we're just going to do Bluetooth. Some of these other options are there. Line-in jack, it's not recommended. So we'll go. And actually, one thing as a sidetrack here is that we are doing real-time entry with voice entry, but you can do post-processing. So there are some scientists that go out and record data on microphones, digital microphones or digital voice recorders, and then they can tie this into Dragon that'll translate it to your data form or Excel. So that's another option. So here's an example of what we did as a selection. And there's based on the consultant that helped set us up with this, he recommended a certain language model. So you see here, there's a whole bunch of different language models. He suggested that we do basically best matched 4 based on the amount of memory we would use and the type of data we were collecting. So we'll just say OK. And then we're going to create. Now, this is an older version of Dragon, so it's going to have me do some reading to set up the initial profile, and part of it is to adjust the microphone volume and then look at accuracy. So I'm going to do a volume check. While you are reading this, the computer will adjust your microphone volume settings and then beep to signal that the process is complete. Speak into the microphone as if you were talking to a friend in person. It should only take about 10 seconds to complete this step. If you do not hear the beep, so it says it's finished. Next, it'll do a quality control check. For Dragon to recognize your voice accurately, it needs to check the quality of your audio system and your microphone. Speak into the microphone as clearly and naturally as you did in the previous step. While reading this, Dragon is listening to you and examining the quality of your audio. Once Dragon has enough information, you will hear a beep to signal. So it's finished the quality, and there's a training module in this older version that isn't in the newer versions of Dragon. So I'm going to just go through this quickly. Welcome to General Training. Training is about to begin. And so in the older version, it has a selection of a longer series of writings that you have to read so it can learn your speech pattern. This is not in the newer versions. You don't have to go through this process. So what I'm going to do is stop the video and continue the video segment after going through this. Because you won't need to do this in the newer version. The older one, this is to develop your speech profile and for it to develop accuracy. In the newer versions, it doesn't require this.